Again, I'm going to start the same way I did with Jim. We haven't talked to you since the end of spring ball, but Coach Gundy was really excited about the work that was able to get done with the depth, the numbers, how many 11v11 reps that everybody got in, not just the veterans, but younger guys. I mean, this was a huge spring to see guys develop and jump up.
Yeah, it was good for us. We were three deep all the way through spring ball. So, Robert, you hit it right on the head. I mean, it was fantastic to see our young guys get that amount of work. All the way through spring ball. So, some of the things, I guess it's really a benefit of what happened with COVID. Is a lot of our guys coming back, returning for that super senior year, and getting those guys back in, creating that depth will help us when we push into August. No question about it. And the reps, and then also just the looks for our defense too. So, no question, it's a great spring for us.
The question, I'm going to ask a question, the $1,000,000 question from every fan, because they're still asking it, even though they saw it on the day of the spring game. And the amazing thing was, just to give folks an example, Shane Illingworth hit some big passes, and Shane had a good spring. But Spencer had that one drive toward the end where he was asked, get the ball down the field, take what the defense is giving. Spencer didn't, he didn't take, he'd love to throw the ball deep. Instead, he nickel and dimed it, used his timeouts, went 8 for 8, and you score on the jet flip with Brennan Presley. What a drive. That's kind of the kind of drive you wanted to see Spencer do more this spring, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We just wanted him to manage it and take care of the football, make decisions, and throw the ball on time and accurately. And he did all those things. All those boxes were checked. You look at that final drive in the spring game, and it really was the same drive that he had in the first drive of the Tulsa game. And we went straight down the field, and a lot of decisions were good, and he made a lot of great plays. Unfortunately for us, he just got hurt, and we got derailed right there for a little bit. But that's what we needed from him, and that's what we saw this spring. So we're excited about him, and we're also excited about Shane.
Sure.
Shane had a huge spring too, and another spring game where he just showed his capabilities as a freshman, quarterback, and he'll be coming into this year as a freshman quarterback again. So we're thrilled with where we are at the quarterback position, and a number of places on offense. So great start.
And here's something I'm going to throw in. I really wasn't planning to ask this, but I'm going to throw it in. ESPN.com did a big story yesterday on tampering in college football because of the portal and all that stuff. Coach Gundy said at the end of spring, one of the byproducts for him of being able to do everything this team did in practice with all the 11v11, all players getting reps, getting coached, feeling like, hey, I got a stake in this, that was going to help defend the roster against portal. Players thinking I'm going to go in the portal. Do you coach? And you've got a lot of weapons. You got a lot of young weapons, old weapons. Do you think about, I need to involve so many more guys? In other words, does the portal change the way you think about your roster and the way you coach?
No, I really don't think so.
That's good.
It's just this year, I think for us, we kind of dodged a bullet with some of the guys. I mean, we didn't have anybody that jumped in, knock on wood, but we didn't have anybody that jumped in the portal here recently. I can remember.
Nope.
Maybe I'm missing something, but Coach is right. I mean, being able to get those guys reps counted for something when it came time for those kids to make those decisions following spring ball. The other thing is, just going into this season, we don't have necessarily the Chubas and the Tylans and things like that. So I think guys feel like, the ball is going to be spread around. It's going to be coming their direction. They've got a chance to make their mark. They're hungry, and they want to be here to be a part of it. And that's fantastic. It's fantastic for everybody involved. And like I said, I'm looking forward to this August.
And I'm going to sneak another one in. When I'm talking to Kasey Dunn, folks, things just flash. It's like seeing flashcards when you were doing your multiplication tables. This is way off the mark, but Dylan Stoner. I know that Tylen did well his first weekend at Baltimore. Dylan Stoner out there with the Vegas Raiders. I got a funny feeling he's going to end up being make it and be a big contributor.
Yeah, I think so too. And I said it a long time ago. I mean, probably after his first year here, but I think he's a long-term NFL veteran player. He's just, he's a great kid. He's very, very smart, and he works his tail off, and he's got an unbelievable motor. So, meaning that he can just go forever. His volume or his ability for that workload will carry him in the NFL. It really will. And being able to play on all 4 special teams, that's something else that he can do too. So he's a jack of all trades as far as being able to play inside, outside, special teams, and just a huge workload, that he's capable of doing. So I think he's in the NFL for quite a while.
And the beautiful thing, because I'm going to come back with it, we saw Jaden Bray make a big play, and I think he's a guy that's got tremendous potential. I mean, he's still at the tip of the iceberg for him because he was mainly a basketball player in high school. In his senior year, they didn't have a quarterback at Norman that could get the ball to him. So that was he's got a lot of growing to do. We talk about the Green Twins, but I told you just a little bit. John Paul Richardson excites me because I think of him as almost a Dylan Stoner mini-me, and maybe I'm off a little bit on that, but I just think he's going to develop into that kind of guy, and he's a little bit of a gym rat with his old man being a former quarterback in the NFL and with the Aggies.
Yeah, Bucky's fantastic, Bucky Richardson, and everybody knows who he is, long-term guy in the Big 12, but his FBI, and I'm talking about John Paul. Well, FBI meaning football IQ is through the roof. I mean, he just gets it. He gets the game, and I'm sure a lot of that comes from his dad. He's just a football junkie, so. You're going to see great plays made from him, I'm sure, throughout his career here at Oklahoma State. So we're excited to have that kid, and I can't wait to see what he does this August. I'd be surprised if he's not playing for us this fall. So I'm sure he's on the field.
Yeah, I look at what Tay did this spring and how he advanced, and you got Braden over there, and I mean, then again, I didn't even mention Brennan, and we know what he did in the bowl game and late in the year. In fact, what was crazy, that jet flip is a dangerous play with him because against Kansas State Manhattan, I'm on the sidelines. I'm like, he isn't going to get the corner. He isn't going to get it. Oh, he got the corner. And the same thing in the spring game. He ain't going to get the corner. Well, nope, he gets the corner. I mean, he's amazing what he can do with that speed and the burst.
Yeah, he sees the field. Yeah, he really does. He can see everybody coming at him from all different angles and has this ability to set up blocks and work off blocks and slither around tacklers and has enough juice to turn the corner, like you said. So we just got to find a way to get him the football, put it in his hands, and see what happens, because I felt the same way, in the Kansas State game. It was like, oh, hell.
Yeah.
And he scored. And then in the
and I know where your booth is there. and from that booth, you probably thought, he's going out of bounds. We can't go out of bounds.
Yeah.
But no, he gets in, man.
He gets in and he makes a play, and when the ball's near him, he finds a way to catch it and do something else with it. He's very rarely tackled first time around.
Yeah, the other thing too, and I wanted to ask you this after the spring game that day. You're up in the booth, so you didn't see it, but I'm standing next to Dr. Pascal, who knows a little bit about anatomy. And when Jalen Warren did his hurdle over the defender, he turns to me and goes, that's the most natural hurdle I've ever seen on a football field. 'Cause most times, or a lot of times, those are a little bit contrived. I mean, this was like he was on a track running a high hurdle. I mean, he went over it like it was nothing.
Yeah, it was nice to see. He can make you miss, but the big benefit from him is just his toughness and attitude. He'll come out there and knock your teeth out. So we love the kid for that because he brings another dimension to that backfield, which is already solid, but he brings another dimension of just physicality that I think we really need, as an offense. We want to be able to come out and just hit people in the mouth. And Coach Gundy's always talking about it. We've won a lot of football games around here by just, being more physical than our opponent, out hitting them, and that's what we want to do offensively. So
it's
making a bunch of people miss is fun, and it's pretty and all that,
yeah.
But everybody gets fired up when you knock somebody's face off. So that's where we're trying to go right now.
Not just Coach Gundy, but I would say of all the we've had some wide receiver coaches. Monken coaches wide receivers here, and we've had some other guys that have come through here that coach wide receivers that appreciated the physicality. But I don't know that we've had. I would put you at the top of being a physical wide receivers coach, right down to the drills you do and the emphasis on the blocking. It's pretty much the full full thing.
I don't know if that's pedigree or what, but I mean, it's when I was playing, I couldn't run away from anybody. So I was going 4.7 downhill with the wind at my back, and it was. I mean, that's how you had to survive when I was playing, so like to see it here. And obviously, we've had a lot of talented wide receivers come through that can make you miss, but very fortunate to have some that'll strike you too, like Tylen. I mean, it's just some of the best plays he ever made.
They made a rule. They made a new rule for him.
That's right. That's exactly
that blocking
right.
back against the grain by a receiver. That's the Tylen Wallace rule.
Yeah, and all of them were legal at the time. They were all legal. He never got penalized for any of those hits, but they sure as heck did away with it after watching too many of those.
Yeah, I'd like to go back and after this season talk to the wide receivers coach for the Raiders and for the Ravens and ask them, okay, all I'm asking, compare how well these kids, their FBI, compare their FBI against the normal guys, first-year guys you get in the NFL, because those are two guys I guarantee you their FBI is better than, like the Bateman. I mean, I'm not trying to dog anybody, but the Bateman kid from Minnesota that's also with the Ravens, I guarantee you Tylen can go around the block with him on FBI.
I'll take Tylen every day of the week.
I'm with you. All right, last thing, because I know you need to get out of here, and I'm glad you brought your wife. I encourage that, so I'm glad you did that. One of the things that's going to have to be there for you to get that goal of getting the running game back where you want and the offense being, just totally well-rounded and being able to attack in every area is that offensive line. And I thought they got better. And I tell you what, I know from talking to Coach Dickey, getting good, Danny Godlewski in really helps. And then the young guys, again, with all those reps, I think, I'm not an expert, but I think that O-line is much further along right now than what they had to be last year when guys were being tossed around each week to come up with a lineup.
Yeah, it was patchwork. When we got to the end of August, it was just patchwork trying to find out who was going to play.
Well, first game, the right side goes down.
Before the game started. And then first quarter, it went down again. So it was interesting, to say the least, all the way throughout the year. And then I think, Cole gets hurt, Springfield gets hurt. And then obviously, Tevin, towards the end of the year, he wasn't out there. So you got a chance the last 4 or 5 games without Tevin really to see what our offensive line was going to look like, minus Danny. So now Danny's in at the center position, and he's really good. He's solid as a rock for us, so a great addition. And then the young guys last year now are veterans, and they've got capable backups. So we feel much better across the board on the offensive line, and they're fired up. I mean, they're really, really hungry right now, and everybody's trying to figure out who the next Tevin is. And Sills is that guy. I'm sure he's the lead dog on that, but even he's extremely hungry right now moving into this season, and that's going to carry over for the team.
Yeah, Sills is a good presence to have. He's classic offensive line. All right, and I'm guessing we with all those running backs and the offensive line better, we probably won't see too many first quarters with 15 straight pass plays. That, by the way, was genius stuff against Miami. You can just see you came out with that game plan. Coach Gundy talked about the fact he was all on board with it, but he came out and told everybody at the beginning of spring that he had missed some of the practices, obviously with COVID issues. But yeah, Hunziker and I are calling it, and we're like, are we ever going to see a run play? I mean, Miami didn't know what hit them. Yeah. How much fun was that in the booth as you're doing that stuff? That
was
to
fun.
me is fun.
It was fun. Yeah. There were a lot of good throws, a lot of good catches, and the offensive line was holding their own. So against a very good defensive front from Miami. So, that's the game that we want to try and take forward moving into the 21 season.
Release.
He does. Spencer can get the ball out. He can flip it a mile. And like you said, the speed of it coming out of his hand is what's really important, especially with all the RPOs that we run pass options.
Yeah. Anyway, appreciate it. Appreciate you coming out. And
thanks, Robert.
Looking forward to this year.
Yeah, we are too. Go Pokes.
All right. Kasey Dunn, Cowboys offensive coordinator and associate head coach, and his lovely wife here, and he's got 2 daughters.